All right, welcome to this Explainer Masterclass. Today we are stepping directly inside the mind of a Cambridge examiner to tackle a topic that forms the absolute backbone of the AS and A-Level Accounting 9706 syllabus. We're talking about bank reconciliation statements and specifically updating the cash book. Now, if you're studying this, you already know it isn't just about magically making two columns of numbers match up. Not at all. This is a high-stakes, multi-stage analytical process. It's all about precision, methodology, and proving to the examiner that you have a deeply connected conceptual understanding. So we're going to dissect these complex questions, look at how to master your time allocation, and deploy the exact critical thinking strategies that push your answers right up into those top marking bands. Let's get started.
So the sheer weight of this topic on your exams, it's undeniable. Just listen to this insight straight from a senior examiner. This topic appears in every examination series. Think about that. This isn't something you can just skim over or cram for the night before. It is absolutely guaranteed to be sitting there on your exam paper, and it's usually a high tariff question, worth anywhere from 9 to 15 marks. The stakes are massive here. And let's be totally honest, seeing a huge table full of discrepancies, unpresented checks, direct debits, and bank errors, it can feel completely overwhelming. It's so easy to start crossing things out until your working gets incredibly messy, and suddenly you've lost all your method marks, even if your final answer miraculously balances. Well, today we are reverse engineering those exact pitfalls so you walk in with a blueprint for absolute bulletproof confidence.
To conquer this, here is our roadmap. First, we'll master the core principles, then lock down a strict procedural framework, navigate the top examiner warnings, and finally, develop the evaluative thinking for those top-tier marks.
Okay, let's jump straight into Section 1, Mastering Core Principles and Building Conceptual Understanding. To truly crush a 15-mark bank reconciliation question, you absolutely must understand the anatomy of the command words. Examiners, they aren't just asking you to punch numbers into a calculator. They're actually setting up hidden constraints. Sure, securing those lower-level marks is about simple calculations, but when a prompt uses words like analyze or evaluate, top marks demand connected conceptual understanding. A massive differentiator here is cross-topic integration. It's not just about updating the cash book and then moving on. It's recognizing that this newly updated figure, that's your actual cash and cash equivalents current asset value that goes straight into your statement of financial position. The entire assessment framework prioritizes analytical depth. They want to see that you understand the whole living ecosystem of accounting.
Moving right along to Section 2, the procedural framework, or what I like to call the method mark strategy.
Listen, method marks are your absolute safety net. Even if a number gets transposed somewhere and your final balance is slightly off, having a rigorous procedural framework guarantees you salvage the majority of the points just for your working. The most common panic response in the exam hall is just lumping all the data together and randomly adding or subtracting. You can't do that. You have to strictly separate the data. Stick to this sequential framework. Items the bank knows about but your business doesn't, think bank charges, direct debits, or dishonored checks, these update the cash book first. On the flip side, items the business knows about but the bank hasn't processed quite yet, like your unpresented checks and late lodgements, those go right into the reconciliation statement.
Which brings us nicely to interpreting the stimulus materials. Accurately extracting data from texts and tables isn't just a good idea, it's a non-negotiable skill for passing. When you're staring at a side-by-side comparison of a cash book and a bank statement, you should be physically ticking off the matching items first. And those unticked items left over, those are your discrepancies. And here is the absolute beauty of the final step, verifying your results. Once your cash book is updated, you start your bank reconciliation statement with that brand new balance. You add your unpresented checks, deduct your late lodgements, and that final figure absolutely must match the balance on the bank statement. If it doesn't, well, you have a built-in mathematical proof that you missed something, which gives you the perfect chance to go back and self-correct.
All right, before we pivot to Section 3 and dive into the survival phase, top examiner warnings, I want to take a quick second. If you're finding this breakdown helpful and you want to ensure you never miss a weekly Cambridge Breakthrough Strategy, make sure you hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exam's IGCSE, O, and A levels at acetheexam_IGCE. Turn on all notifications so you can secure those top grades. Okay, let's get back into it and look at how to avoid the exact traps highlighted in Cambridge Principal Examiner reports.
Consider this your ultimate pitfall avoidance plan. When you're asked to explain a discrepancy in an exam, so many students end up hovering around a lower marking band because they fall into two major, totally avoidable traps, providing answers that aren't specific to the given context and fundamentally confusing cause and effect.
If a prompt asks for the reason behind a difference involving a standing order, you really can't just write the cash book is overstated or it was a timing difference. That doesn't actually tell the examiner anything specific about what happened. So let's look at the correct way to construct an answer by clearly separating the cause from the effect. The cause is the specific transaction or error that occurred. The effect is the resulting overstatement or understatement in your actual records. So keeping with that standing order example, the cause is that a standing order of $100 for insurance was automatically deducted by the bank. The effect is that the bank statement balance decreased, but because the business wasn't notified until the physical statement arrived, the cash book was not updated. The end result? The cash book balance is overstated by $100 relative to the bank. Isolating the cause, isolating the effect, and then linking them together logically, that is exactly how you secure maximum marks.
Now, here is an emphatic examiner alert straight from the grading floor. Principal examiner reports reveal that candidates consistently confuse key terminology. You absolutely must define terms clearly before using them in your extended responses. Please don't just throw out the phrase unpresented check and expect full marks. Define it. Say it's a check issued by the business to a payee that has not yet been presented to the bank for payment. Same goes for late lodgement. Define it explicitly as funds deposited by the business into the bank that have not yet been cleared and credited to the account. Examiners constantly flag vague, confused terminology as a massive issue. When it comes to Cambridge exams, precision is literally everything.
Okay, let's head into our fourth and final phase, evaluation and strategy, to really build those critical analysis skills needed for top-tier marks.
Imagine a scenario where your cash book ends in a $2,000 credit, but the bank statement is showing a $2,300 debit. A top-scoring evaluative response doesn't just list out the errors, it deconstructs, it solves, and it evaluates. If a prompt asks you to evaluate the importance of bank reconciliation, writing something like, "It finds errors and stops fraud," is, well, it's just too basic. It lacks comparative connectives and concrete evidence. Instead, a truly top-tier answer uses a deconstruct, solve, evaluate loop. It should sound much more like this. While bank reconciliation is fundamentally important for identifying arithmetic errors to ensure the accuracy of the financial statements, its greater strategic value lies in fraud prevention. By separating the duties of the cash book maintainer and the bank statement reconciler, the business establishes vital internal controls. You see the difference? That is the kind of analytical depth that secures the highest possible grade.
Of course, to avoid cognitive overload under intense exam pressure, you really need to rely on memory hacks. You want to build a mental trigger, so you never just go blank staring at the page. First, always use what we call a 3-step question scan. Read the command word, separate the cash book updates from the bank reconciliation adjustments, and then execute methodically. Second, use the paragraph balance formula for any written response. Always clearly state the cause, the effect, and the broader financial impact. Don't just tell the examiner half the story. And finally, always use a last 5 minutes review checklist to verify that your reconciled bank balance mathematically perfectly matches that stimulus bank statement.
So, the big question. Are you ready to execute the examiner's blueprint and secure every single method mark? Remember, simply having this knowledge is only potential power. Actually applying this exact methodology under strict time conditions, that is actual power. Crushing these exams requires a deeply consistent, rigorous strategy. The blueprint is officially yours, so how are you going to build the house? Thank you so much for joining this explainer, and remember, if you want to keep studying smart, hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exams IGCSE O&A levels at Ace the Exam IGCSE, turn on the notification bell for all our future exam hacks, and definitely drop a comment down below with your target grade. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next one.